Hey gang, it's me, it's Shannon. Sheepless Needles, vegan podcast, not about being vegan, except for when it is, which is kind of sometimes, but not always, but usually. Anyway, we do all sorts of fun stuff here, like knitting. We talk about knitting, we talk about gaming, we talk about cats, we talk about bunnies, we just talk about life. We just talk, we hang out. So you know what? What you got going on? Do you have like a little project you're working on? Maybe a crossword puzzle? I don't know. Do you have some coffee? Do you have a beverage? Grab it. Grab your little project, grab your beverage, pull up a chair. Let's do this. Okay. Today, we got a schedule. Who is this person who has a schedule? I don't know. Hi, I'm Shannon. Nice to meet you. We are going to talk about knitting. We're also going to reintroduce a segment that I love. So that will be coming up. We will also be reintroducing a returning segment. You guys, I'm on fire. You better look out. It's not just the hair. It's the persona. Okay. But in true Sheepless Needles fashion, I need my glasses to read the can of what I'm going to be imbibing. So this is RS Twitchy. It is a Ethiopian coffee imperial stout. It is by R. Shea Brewing, crafted in Akron, Ohio. Chrissy Hind, Pretenders, Akron. About the beer, Twitchy is our big imperial stout that has sat on single origin Ethiopian whole bean coffee from Nervous Dog. Oh, I don't know Nervous Dog. I like an Ethiopian bean, a little bit lighter than what I normally drink. I am a Costa Rican Sumatra type of coffee drinker. I like it earthy, I like it dirty, I like it dark, you know. So let's crack her open. Wait, hang on. Oh, it's only 9.25. Now listen, I did film yesterday. I filmed yesterday and had a 14.8 beer. And I went totally off the rails. And when I went off the rails, I didn't even talk about any of the things that I wanted to talk about. We're not doing that today, people. We're not. We're going to do this right. So let's pour ourselves a beverage. You know it's going to be all foam because of the way I'm pouring this, but that's okay. Set that down. We're going to let the foam settle. All right, we're going to take the glasses off. Hey, how you been? How have the past couple weeks treated you? Been a little rough over here. I'm hanging in. I'm not complaining. Just been a little, sometimes life, you just have to kind of dig in a little bit more than you want to, but you dig in because you have to. And because at the end of the day, it'll make you feel better. So I'm digging in. And yeah, that's where we'll leave that. Let's have a wait, my foam still has not calmed down, so we can't cheers anything yet, but we will in a moment. Let's talk about you guys, what is this? What am I wearing? I'm too lazy to get up. I'll have Steve put footage of it here. This is I just blinded myself. Oh, could be blinking. This is my Painting Honeycombs sweater. Hold the line. Stephen West, paid for pattern. You can get this on Ravelry and his website. I will leave everything in the show notes. This has been on my needles for a very long time. In fact, this is only the second sweater I knit, but this is technically the first sweater I ever cast on. And what I did was get super excited, right? Cast it on. I finished the yoke. And I split for the sleeves and I said, sayonara, squirrel. Other patterns popped up in my feed. And, life, and then squirrel, and then like shawl, and then, whatever, scarf, hat, sweater. And I just never went back to it. And I didn't go back to it for a couple reasons, which I think will probably resonate with a lot of you. Because the body is just solid stockinette, kind of a snooze fest. And I think if I had been a more experienced garment knitter when I had cast this on, I would have known that, hey, this will, once you get past the yoke, it's TV knitting. But I just never, those dots were not connecting in my head. I hadn't kind of figured out what my comfort level was, multitasking while I knit, like whether it's reading, whatever it is. So I just wasn't there yet. So this whip turned into like kind of a, not even a hoe, a quo, a quarter finish, a quail. I don't know, a quarter project, half a hoe. It's either a or an O. Okay, so I finally picked it back up, and I'm not sure where I was the last time I showed you. I think I had finished the body, and I think I was like partially down one of the sleeves and hadn't started the second sleeve. So she's done, and I love my little sleeve detail. What I did was I picked up, this is not going to read very well in this light, but this is navy blue in this honeycomb here. And I picked that up and put it on the sleeves. And I love it. I wish I could stand up without knocking this whole rig up. I'll try. There we go. So now you can see it. So it's that blue. And I have not washed, blocked, or done anything to it. I really do like the way it fits. This is exactly what I wanted. I do not like tight fitting clothes. Not happening. There's no form fitting going on over here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very happy with the fit. I think some people would be like, it's too big for you. You should have done decreases under the arm. Wow, wow, wow. I don't care. I love it. What can I tell you about the pattern? It was the first thing I ever cast on that was a sweater. I mean, the first sweater that I ever cast on. So obviously it wasn't so intimidating that I wasn't willing to try to tackle it. I will say I had to read through the directions like a lot when you had to do the short rows up here, because one, never knitting a sweater before, knitting a sweater in the round and then doing short rows in the round, that was all new to me. Guys, I didn't have to frog a thing. I mean, it really was well written. If I could do it, you can do it. Like, honestly, you just make sure you have the right tools. Like, you've got the right needles, you know, what you need, stitch markers and all of that. Set yourself up for success. You could be like this. You could be like hanging out like, this is my honeycomb sweater. And then you and me, we could meet and we could walk down the street and be like, kaboom, kaboom. It'll be like, okay, 1980s, picture this. Kiss, lick it up. It's their no makeup era. And they're walking down the street. They're like, lick it up. Oh, ba, 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 ba. Lick it up. That's what it would be like, but it'd be like us in our honeycomb sweaters, and we're owning it. Oh, that's what the right tools do. They turn you into non-makeup Kiss. Okay. Oh, cheers. I really do like this. My husband had one last night, so I had a sip of it, but I had already had that 14.8%, and so I was tasting nothing. It's, again, some of these coffee beers are really on the sweet side. I wish it was more bitter, but I'm not going to complain. It's still good. Okay, so a little bit about materials for the painting honeycomb. I knit it using my favorite budget yarn ever. This is Premier Anti-Pilling Everyday DK. This is the colorway Raven. They also do have a black. Do not confuse the two, very different. And you can kind of tell when you get in the light that this is not a true black, that it's got gray and white fleck in it, or fiber in it. I love it. I've knit with solid black in the same line and with the Raven. I'm not gonna lie to you here. Black yarn is just hard to pick up stitches. It's hard to do certain things. What I would recommend if you've never tackled a garment or a project in black, anytime you need to pick anything up later on, stitch marker each stitch, without a doubt, and have a very, very good light source. Sit down where you can directly hit the project with light, and you will do much better. Do not try to pick up black stitches while you're watching like Lord of the Rings in a dank basement. It's going to be a time for you. And if you do that and you're successful, you know where to put it. So anyway, I think this was the 7th skein, and I really didn't use a lot of it. So I'm going to say 6 to 7 skeins of the DK in that. And then the yoke was comfy worsted, which is 75% Pima cotton, 25% acrylic. I really like this. This is obviously the blue that I picked up too. And obviously there's other colors in the yoke. I really, really liked this yarn. I think when it comes to sweater or like larger project knitting, 100% cotton can be a little bit tricky depending on the weight of the project. Fingering weight, I don't really have an issue with. But when you get into like worsted and Aran and it's cotton, the bigger the project, the more it's going to weigh itself down. So like if it's a sweater, it's literally going to stretch over time. It will bounce back. Like you can launder it. But that feeling of like not holding its shape, I feel like that 25% of acrylic in this would be a phenomenal yarn to knit a sweater out of, because I think you get the softness and the pliability of the cotton, but you get the elasticity it's not really elasticity, I shouldn't say that, but you get the benefit of a small amount of acrylic, which helps with bounce back, I guess is what I would say. It's not elastic. It's not like a nylon, but I do really like it. So I highly recommend comfy worsted. I 100% will always recommend Premier Anti-Pilling, though I've used the DK, I've used the worsted. Did I call it worsted earlier? I'm sorry, this is all DK. It's not worsted. Yeah, so that's what I used for yarn. No complaints anywhere with any of it. I would absolutely 100% knit the sweater again. I would also 100% knit with the same yarns, maybe different color, but I would absolutely do this project again. I'm getting nailed on my phone. What is going on? I don't even want to know. We're gonna drink some beer and ignore it. So needle-wise, what I used for the project was US 5s and US 6s. So 5s were for any of the ribbing, so it would have been the collar, the cuffs, and the hem, and then a US 6 for the yoke and the body. I think it was a 40 centimeter Addi. It was, yeah. And then for the sleeves, my new best friends, the Addi Flexi-Flips, which I've shown before, but I will just show you a tube of them now. You see those little ding-dongs in there? Hang on. It's a set of 3. They have a little connection cord in between them, right? So it's like a set of double-pointed needles that are already connected for you. But oh my gosh, this solved my magic loop drama. I love these. I now have these in 5, 6s, and 7s, and I think I got them in 0s and 1s for socks. I think I can't remember. I love these. If you are someone who does not like magic loop, but you want to try socks, or you're like, this sleeve is killing me, these are a godsend. I have never loved anything more, and I love them more than DPNs. I'm just putting that out there. Now, DPNs will absolutely work in the same way. So you do not need to spend, like, these are an investment. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money, try DPNs first. And if you do like them, but you find them like a little bit like in your way, these are not as in your way as DPNs are. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then you need to try DPNs and see how you feel about them. But it will change your mind about small circumference knitting, particularly if you're someone like me who's not a magic looper. And, you know, my sister swears by magic loops. She loves it. Guys, I can't get on board with it. I don't know what the deal is. So anyway, I finished my sweater. So that's a done deal. She went from a O to a hoe to a whip to a finished project. It's like a butterfly from the cocoon all the way. Okay, cheers. And what am I working on? Well, what I'm working on is my Dustland sweater Also, Stephen West, my best friend, he doesn't know it yet. He just hasn't taken that into his spirit yet. When he does, he'll be like, "Oh, Sheepless Needles, where have you been all my life?" He gives 0 Fs, you know that. Okay, so I have no idea where I was on this the last time I talked to you guys. So you might have a better idea just visually where I was versus where I am now. I haven't done a heck of a lot because honestly, I decided to pick up my oh for this. So I have done, I think, another section. I feel like I had split for the arms maybe. So I've done that much. Like where the armhole is down, that's what I've gotten done. You guys, I love this pattern. I can't wait to have this sweater done. It's going to be super big and cozy. I'm still trying to debate. I think I'm going to do it long enough to cover up my butt. So like it's literally going to be one of those sweaters, like throw it on with some like leggings and be like, this is me for the weekend, deal with it. But I love the pattern detail. It's so much fun. And I don't know if I can get up close enough for you really to be able to see it, but it is obviously it's a repeat that goes around. But the repeat, I think the repeats are 8 to 10 rounds, and then there's 3 of them. So you're just cycling through them. And so once you're kind of like, oh, I'm like over this moss stitch, then you move on to like broken rib. And I feel like once I get to the arms, I'm going to love the arms because it's not just going to be that stockinette. It's going to be like I can do other stuff. Because I honestly, I do think that's my issue with a lot of garment knitting is once you hit solid wall stockinette, I'm checked out. I want to do something more exciting. Like, I'll cast on 80 gazillion projects just not to do that. And so I feel like I'm really going to like this, which has taught me a lesson, which maybe means that I should look at cables and stuff like that for my next sweater project because it will keep the noggin involved and I won't hit the stockinette sleeve island wall that I hit. So I am using again on this. This is Premier Basic anti-pilling worsted, and I believe it's the colorways Fern and Lagoon for the blue. I love it. Do I have a time frame of when I think I'm going to get this done? Absolutely not, because life, right? Like I have no idea. I probably knit, I try to knit a section a night, but it's like 8 to 10 rounds and it's a lot. Like I'm probably am not getting through a whole section, maybe 3/4. What would that be? Okay, if a quarter project is a O and a half finished project is a hoe, a 3/4 would be a trio. Put it in the comments. What is it? It's in between a hoe and a done. Ugh, I have a cat hair on my lip. Maggie. Okay, so anyway, that Dustland went no timeline. And speaking of which, I am. Everybody raise a glass. Guess what time it is? You guys, it's roll for initiative. Steve, Mr. Editor, love of my life, will you please insert said beautiful footage of me in the morning, half awake, rolling for initiative? Initiative. I'll see you guys in a bit. We're going to roll for initiative. If you're new here, what rolling for, hang on, I'm going to move. I'm worried about this mic. You guys don't care. Anyway, what it is basically I approach life and allow dice to tell me what to do. Or rather, dice approach my life and direct me in a particular fashion. I am a big RPG player, so I have a lot of dice sets in my possession. Today, we are going to be using a set by Metallic Dice Gaming. Is that who they are? Yeah, Metallic Dice Games. I'll put them in the show notes. They did a Kickstarter for liquid core dice. Let me see if I can get this to show. Do you see kind of the glitter in there? There we go. You're out of focus. Now, sometimes I do use a D20, and because I will have 20 projects. We're not doing that today. We're probably going to do 4 to 6 projects, and I'm probably leaning towards 4. I want to do smaller projects, something that I can work on alongside with my umpteen other whips that I've got going on. So let's get into it. Let's see what we've got. Let me do a little magic here. So anyway, what I do is I pick different projects, I assign them a number, get a coordinating number-sided die to match. I roll that. That will determine the project that I'm picking. And then sometimes I'll do it to pick colors, you know, transitions, stuff like that. So here's what we've got. Obviously, this is the hit page for Ravelry. Let's go into my favorites. Okay, so you guys, number 1 will be the Cuddle Puddle wrap by Darci Kern. She is Darci Does It. She also has a web, like not a web, sorry. She probably does have a website, but she has a YouTube that I watch. I really enjoy her candor. I think she just seems like a really like laid back, cool person to hang out with. I enjoy it. Not vegan, so don't at me. But anyway, this is the Cuddle Puddle wrap. The thing that I like about this, there's 2 different sizes. So it's either a 1 skein project or a 2 skein project, and it's fingering weight. So if I do the smaller one, that's look at it though. I mean, look at the detail here. That's pretty yarn, but look at that. That's just gorgeous, right? So she's definitely obviously using variegated yarn. I really like this, you guys. I love it. I love it. So a little bit about this. Let's make sure I'm correct. Obviously, I'm not going to use the recommended yarns, so I'll probably use I might use Birdie Knits for this because I've got a couple different skeins of Birdie Knits. I don't know. We'll get into the yarn if this is the one I pick. But all right, so it's on US 6s, 459 to 926 yards. Yeah, so that's number 1. Number 2, this chair is for assholes. Yeah, I think this speaks for itself. My sister sent me this pattern. I love it. And if I do get this pillow will go in the chair behind me. Yeah, so it's worsted weight. It looks like it's a 1 skein project of worsted, really. But there's 2 different colors, so obviously you're going to need 2 different skeins because of that. But, you know, look at this cat just hanging. Oh, these cats. Oh, jeez, these cats. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You know who needs to be on here? Smithers. I'm sorry. We've got to get going on this. Even if I don't land on this, even if if it's a D4 or a D6, I'm not sure what we're doing yet, I will knit this year. It will happen. In fact, almost all the projects that I'm going to put in the running for this roll, they're going to get knit at some point because I love all of them. All right, so that's number 2. All right, number 3. This is the Kinikin cardigan. This is by, oh, I'm sorry. I should have said this. I hope I have this right. Nope, I'm going to need to go back. Hang on. Whoop, sorry. Hang on. Chair for Assholes is by Cheezombies. So they have their own Ravelry, so you can get it on Ravelry. Anyway, I just wanted to call out who wrote it. Cheezombies. Okay, number 3, Kinikin cardigan. This is by Tara-Lynn Morrison. It is a bulky weight. It comes in small, medium, large, and extra large. I don't know which size I would do. I'm going to need to think about that, and I will have time to think about it if I roll this because I do not have this large of needles. I think the largest circ I have is an 11. So I'm going to need to order needles for this, which I'm not super stoked about because I don't know how often I would knit with them, but you know, whatever. Not a lot of yardage. So I feel like this would work up pretty quickly, which you know, I like. I love it. I think it's super cute. Obviously, mine is going to be gray toned or black, and it will not have the halo because I'm not using mohair, obviously. So this was number 3. Number 4, you guys, would you die if I was like, I'm going to knit this again? Not happening. No. I should probably take that out of my favorites because I've already knit it. Well, I can organize my Ravelry later. You don't need to sit around for that. Okay, so number 4 is look at my holes, James and Watts. You guys, I love this. I love it. I love it for so many reasons. Number 1, I love it because it looks good on every single body type it's on. Like, I don't care what shape, size you are, this is working for you, right? Oh, come on. Love it. There is nothing wrong with, there's everything about this I love. And I love that I'm going to do it in black and it'll be totally punk rock in my head. It probably won't look that way, but that's in my head what it's going to be. It is, let's take a look here. It's DK weight, 277 to 573 yards. Not a huge project. I don't know how complicated it is. We'll get into that, but obviously a lot of different sizes. I don't know, you guys, at the end of the day, what size I would do on this, but I feel like I would go larger. And the reason why I say that is when I see, and maybe it's the color of the yarn that's causing this, but when I see the smaller knit, like closer fit to the body, I feel like you lose some of the detail of the holes. Now that could be completely yarn specific and drape specific and not size specific, and I just don't know. But I think I'm gonna lean towards a large on this because I think I would want it with some drape. If I had some chesticles where I would be like ba-boom, then maybe I would go smaller, but I don't. So yeah. So this is gonna be number 5. This is Petra Breakstone. I've had this kit for well over a year. So this will be number 5. I have everything I need. I have the yarn. I have everything. So this is 5. I am unusually drawn to this. Like, it's driving me nuts how much I like this. Oh, we're doing it. This is 6. All right, so this is okay, I'm very sorry if I mispronounce your name. Jessie Rayot? Rayot? I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, but it is worsted weight on 8s, 240 to 260 yards, perfect sizing for me. I don't know what this means, but I can't wait to find out. The Knit Dragon Wing Cowl uses my Knit Jacob's Ladder technique to make the ridges. I'm all about this. All right, look at the rainbow colors. Oh, love that. Love that. Okay, it doesn't even matter. I love it. Okay, there we go. I have my D6. I just love these dice. Okay. Six. It is a 6. Here's what I rolled. Six. All right, that's the dragon cowl. So, all right, so I'm going to need to put that in my cart. I'm not going to buy it in front of you. You guys don't need to sit through that. All right, so it is worsted weight. Oh, I think I have yarn. Yep, I know I have yarn for this. You guys, I'm so excited. What I don't know is that yarn or is that like a button? Is that a button? What do I need? Oh, toggle. Okay, I'm going to need to order buttons or toggles. You guys, if you have any toggles that you're all about, put them in the show notes because I'm going to have to look them up. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Okay. So that was Roll for Initiative. We rolled a 6. We're doing a dragon cowl chicha. I have no friggin' clue what I'll wear it with. I may never wear it. It may just end up on a mannequin in my basement. And yes, I have mannequins in my basement. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You guys, did you see the project? Are you totally excited? I'm so excited. I even was so excited. I went downstairs and I found the yarn I'm going to use because, again, I'm trying not to buy any yarn this year. I am trying to use everything from my stash. And I found this. This is Hold the Line. Oh, there they are. Well, these eyes. All right, this is Brand Mandala Ombre. It's a 4 weight, so this is going to be a little dicey. We'll see. But it's 344 yards, and I think the pattern's like 240 yards, so I'm fine. Even if this is a little bit lighter than worsted, it's going to work itself out. If I have to add some rows, I'll do that. What's the colorway on this? Oh, cool. Just like me. Such a dork. So this is going to be, what was it called? The Dragon Wing Cowl, I think. So I'm going to get this on the needles. That's my next cast on. And like I said in the Roll for Initiative insert, you guys, I'm probably going to knit everything on there. Particularly that Cuddle Puddle wrap. It's a 1 skein project. I feel like I want to do that, one, because I love it. I think the pattern's super cute, but I want to also be able to recommend, hey, 1 skein project, knock it out, Christmas gifts, whatever. If you've got something really quick you need to get done, like you're going to an event and you want something really simple, I feel like this is going to be it. So I will probably be casting that on pretty close to when I cast on the Dragon Wing. And then the pillow, come on, you guys. And then the See My Holes, whatever it was called, Watch My Holes, whatever it is, the James and Watt one. I cannot, I have to knit that. Like, there's not a thing that I don't want to knit that was on that list. So again, I think through this calendar year, you're going to see me putting different things on the needles, and we'll see what I get done versus what like ends up on my needles, like not even halfway done, right? Like, I don't know. We'll find out. So there's that. And then, you guys, I got bamboozled. I did. I forgot it was April Fool's. And I'm thinking the world right now is in such a weird, well, the United States is in the world is in kind of a precarious place right now for all sorts of reasons, political, social, economic, you name it, right? So I was thinking this April Fool's, nobody's really going to do an April Fool's because like April Fool's has been going on like I feel like every day of my life. Like Trump was the biggest April Fool's for me that just never stopped, right? So I got bamboozled by a Knit Picks email and it totally cracked me up. It was like 5 different ways to use your knitting needles. And one of them was like to aerate plants and like, if I can link it, I'll link it. But if not, just know it was like, and I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea. Like a bun holder and like chopsticks. I was like, well, I wouldn't do that with circulars, but I guess if I was in a bind, like if it's the apocalypse and I just have my knitting needles and I don't want to eat with my hands, yeah, I'd use my knitting needles to eat with. I got no issue with that. I thought it was a totally serious article. You guys, it was completely an April Fool's and there was nothing wrong with any of the ideas they had. Like I would use every single one of them. So my question to you is, me being as gullible and bamboozleable as I am, what kind of ways do you use your knitting ephemera, however you say that, your knitting crap, your notions? What non-knitting way have you incorporated them into your life? I have found that I do use my straights or my DPNs all over the place for the weirdest things. And can I think of any of them right now? No. But I do use them. Like I find myself using DPNs. What am I doing with them? Like I know I was hole punching for one of my D&D, what am I saying? Character sheet books. I was using the DPN to punch the holes through. I don't know. Do you use your stuff for other stuff that isn't knitting? And if you do, I want to know about it. Put it in the comments. And I want to know, were you bamboozled? Did you get tricked by an email or like a joke online or by a friend for April Fools? Let us know. Let us all share in the fact that I'm the most gullible person on the planet, apparently. You know, it happens. But it did get me thinking, like, you know, things need to have multiple purposes. So I need to start looking at this stuff like, what else can I use this for? I don't know yet. I'm going to come up with a list. It'll be like, You know how people doomsday or preppers and stuff? I need a doomsday list for my knitting notions. Like, in case of apocalypse, use this for. Now, let's be real. Straights, absolute, well, any type of knitting needle, that's a weapon. And these are a form of nunchucks. Fight me and find out. Or don't, because you might lose an eye. And I don't want to go to jail. Just putting that out there. Oh my God. Okay, so yeah. All right, what else have I been doing? You guys. All right, so beyond getting bamboozled by nitpicks, listen, I did not record. There was a weekend I was supposed to record and I didn't record. And why didn't I record? Diablo 4. I was playing the beta for Diablo 4. And I pre-ordered the game the day that the pre-order was available. I got the ultimate bundle. So I did the closed beta and the open beta. I will have Mr. Editor insert footage at some point yonder. I did not film or record my rogue playthrough, and I did get my rogue to level 25. And at the time, I didn't record it because it was like, well, I don't want to do a video on this and ruin it for people who go to do the open beta. Like, there are things I want people to discover for themselves. But then open beta weekend, when I would have been posting a video, I played the open beta and didn't record. So then I played the Necromancer and the Sorcerer. So I'm not sure what footage Mr. Editor is going to put in, but enjoy some Diablo. Got you guys. Oh, I'm gonna die. I need time to do that. Oh, no. Fucker. See, it's fun to kill stuff on a computer and not in life. You know. So go play it. Go play Diablo. It's so much fun. If you've never played a Diablo game, Obviously, you could tell by the footage, it's not first person. It's a 2D top down. I think that's what they call that, third person, whatever. Mr. Editor, whatever that view is called, put it up there. I really enjoy that for Diablo. You can see a majority of the map when you play that style, so it's easier to navigate and see what you've got going on. And especially with a character like the Necromancer, where you may have a whole entire army you've raised, to be able to see everything is super important. The one thing I will say that was definitely different in Diablo 4 than other Diablos that I've played, and I've played all 3 of the other Diablos, is there used to be a map that was like an overlay map. So while you were playing, you could hit the map button, you could toggle, and it would sit on top of what you were doing, and you could see where you were going. They got rid of that. So the only thing they had was that compass map, and I don't know if you noticed, but it was like kind of in the top right-hand corner of the screen, which I didn't mind, but I didn't like having to toggle out and toggle back in to see the full screen. I don't know if they're going to change that for the game or not. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but it was just, I was like, oh, that's the one thing I wish that was still here. Other than that, I had a great time. I know there were a lot of videos posted reviewing the beta, and some of the reviews were like mine, where it was like, this is just fun. I can't wait to play the game. That's how I feel. And then there were a lot of like people who are professional gamers, and it's how they make their living. And it was like all like everything that was wrong with it, everything that was negative about it, and da 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 da. And just, it's like, okay, first of all, it's a beta, it's not the game. And second of all, it's just a game. Even if it was the final thing. I get that that's your career, but good God, if you're going to be negative about that, you must have a really good life if that's your biggest complaint. So cheers to you, because that's not my life. But I'm definitely going to recommend Diablo when it comes out. And the story is really, really good. I've always enjoyed the story of Diablo, and you can read articles about the lore of Diablo. But it is I really like the story. And in this one, it's definitely darker, both visually and story theme-wise, than Diablo 3 was. And I do like it more grimdark than I like what Diablo 3 was. And I loved Diablo 3, don't get me wrong. But there's a definite different feel to it, and I love that feel. So I highly recommend it. I'm still playing Elden Ring. I am toying with doing a playthrough of Elden Ring from beginning to me trying to get to end game. You guys, I'm nowhere near. I've never even made it to the end of the game. I'm still learning things on my second playthrough because I gave up on my one character. So if that is something that you guys would be interested in, is watching from day one someone playing Elden Ring who's like older and not like a young whippersnapper who can like do a no-hit run through in 2 hours. That's not going to be me. But if you're like someone who likes watching Skyrim grandma, and maybe you want to see this grandma, who's not really a grandma, but kind of a grandma, play Elden Ring, let me know, and I will consider filming it. I will definitely film some streams of Diablo when it comes out, and that's not until June. I will also be streaming Baldur's Gate when that comes out in the fall, which I think is September. And I think there's one other game I'm going to be streaming, and now I can't remember what it was. But let me know if you have any interest in following a series like that. I will totally do it. If no one cares, I may just do it anyway, and then no one will see it, and I don't give a shit. But we'll see what happens. That's my gaming news. My D&D group is still meeting. My character is still alive, you guys, so I think I'm going to buy her some dye. I think she's going to get her set because she has not died yet. So there's the news there. Yeah, so gaming going really well, really enjoying it. I need to get back to painting my Dark Souls minis, and I promised you guys a video on that. I will do a short on that at some point. I'm going to link, there is someone who paints Dark Souls models, and I follow them on Instagram and on YouTube. They're super talented. I am nowhere near that level, so please don't be expecting that, but I'm going to link them in the show notes because I want to throw them some viewers. So if painting minis, gaming minis, Kim, if that's something that you're interested in, you want to see someone who's really talented to kind of see where that craft can go, I'm going to link that so you guys can take a look, because I really, I'm not a good representation of a lot of things. Like, I'm not a great knitter and I'm not a great painter, but I love it, and I will always share it because I love it. And I think when you love something and you're passionate about it, I like to share it with other people so that they know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like this version of like Instagram non-reality. It can be something workable that you're proud of, like my sweater, yeah. So let me know if you're interested in something like that, and I will definitely do it. Hold the line. Okay, you guys, are you ready for the repeat segment? What is it? Literature for your knitature. Guess who got back in the saddle again? Back in the old chair, the reading chair. This girl. Yes, I'm trying to beat my reading hump. I hit a wall. I was like, I can't pick up a book. I can't do it. I can't look at the page and concentrate. I'm really envious. If you're not familiar with Kate from This Orange Couch, phenomenal knitter, but also an avid reader. And I'm like, how do you not hit a wall with that? And her Instagram posts are so super cute. I'll link her Instagram because she takes pictures with her cat, Callie, and her cat's adorable. Kate's adorable. They're just adorable together, and they read together. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I just always want to say to people who read like that, have you ever hit a wall where you can't read anymore, where you're just like, I don't want to read. I just don't want to do this anymore right now. Like, I'm on hiatus. And how do you bring yourself back? I did find a couple of videos like of book reviewers who are like, what to do when you hit a reading wall or a reading slump, and what are my go-to books that I go back to when I'm in a reading slump. And I mean, I listen to everything that all the authors would like throw in and say, and I don't disagree with anything that was brought up. But it's just hard sometimes to pick a book up and sit and look at the page. And I think part of it is being silent in your head, right? Like, I don't know if that makes sense. But for me, when I've got a lot going on in my life, like this brain, even though my mouth is moving really fast, my brain is moving quicker. And I can't quell the noise, right? And so when I sit down to read, when I'm in that state, I just can't. Like, I look at the page, I'm like, I can't. And it's not even like squirrel. It's literally, I can't calm my brain down. And I was having a horrible time with that. And part of that's just life. Part of it's, I've got parents who are aging, and we're kind of coping with some issues with that. And they're stressful. And I think that's where it's coming out. Like, my brain is trying to work it out, but in trying to work it out, I'm not able to do some some craft or hobby related things that I like doing because my brain is just not on board, right? So what I did is I had started reading, and don't at me for it being like high school books, right? Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't care that I'm 52. I'm reading a book from 1980 something that was meant for 13-year-old boys. Whatever. I give zero fucks. I went back to Dragonlance. So I had read the first two books in it's not a trilogy. There's 4 books. I don't know what that's called. Oh my God, I need to go back to school. Okay, so anyway, I had read fall and winter. I don't friggin' know. I'm on spring. I'm on the 3rd book. You guys, I'm like maybe 150 pages in. I love it. It's such an easy, fun read. The characters are fun. It's nice to have that. It's just great. I love it. So my Knitature for your literature has nothing to do with Knitature. It has everything to do with literature. And some would question using that term. But I would say that it's gotten me over my hump a little bit. I'm not really ready to take on anything that's going to make me have to deal with the fate of the universe or, solve mathematic problems or anything like that. But I'll take a Dragonlance. And the other thing is there's an actor, and I cannot pronounce his last name, so I'm going to butcher this, but it's Joe Manganiello. He's handsome, and he's a really great actor. He was in True Blood and a couple other things that I can't think of right now. But he's also a big D&Der, and he owns, I think it's called Death Saves. It's like a D&D merchandise company. They do t-shirts and stuff. He loves Dungeons and Dragons, but more than that, he loves Dragonlance. And he is doing something with the books. And I don't know if it's going to be a live action, series, or whether it's a movie, or whether it's animated. I don't know what it is that he's doing, but I'm very, very tuned into that because I think the story is wonderful. The story itself has influenced so many people in the D&D RPG realm. If you are someone who's never read fantasy and you don't know where to start, and you don't want some like over the board fantasy, and you don't feel like reading Lord of the Rings because that's like crazy narrative and all of that, Dragonlance is like a beach read, is the way I would describe it. Like, how people will buy romance novels for beach reads over the summer. If you're not a romance novel person, which I am not, Dragonlance, fantasy, get it. You won't regret it. It's just such a great, fun ride, and it's a great story. And, there's halflings, there's elves, there's swords, there's dragons, there's wizards, good and evil, and yeah. So I highly recommend the Dragonlance series. I will put it in the show notes. What are you guys reading? Are you reading? Have you ever hit a wall with your reading? And how did you get over it? Let me know. What book got you over it? I want to know. So, cheers to that. The only other thing I want to talk about really quickly is something that came up on a podcast that I watch, and it just kind of gave me one of those moments of pause. And I'm not going to name out the podcast because I really do like it, and I don't want this to come off as a negative criticism of their podcast. So if it was going to be taken that way, I don't want to say who it is. But it's two women who are obviously really, really close and really good friends, and their friendship reads so well. And I think they are only 4 episodes in, maybe 3 or 4 episodes into this new podcast. Both of them had podcasts apart from each other before that. And then they came together. And I really enjoy them. They, they're like me. They knit a lot in black, and, I gravitate towards that. And so what was interesting to me is they were talking about projects they were working on. And I cannot remember what the pattern was, but it was a really cute top. And one of the women who knit it, when they go over what they knit, the pattern, things they like, and then they talk about, obviously, this is the yarn I use, yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know the spiel of how this works. So when she went to discuss the yarn she used, it started out as an apology and a rationalization because it was cotton. And it just shocked me because it was a 3-minute, I time checked it, 3 minutes of her kind of rationalizing the use of cotton to her audience. And I thought, well, one, that tells me people have come at you in the past for using cotton and not an animal fiber, to the point where you feel the need to discuss why you had to choose cotton, why you thought it was okay. It was just it was a very unsettling 3 minutes to watch, because in my head, I'm thinking, of all the things that you knit with that you should apologize for, cotton's not one of them. Right? And I'm not ever going to go into someone's YouTube channel and ever be like, animal fiber. That's not who I am. You do you. I'm going to do me over here, my vegan knitting, which I'm really happy with. But it blew my mind that cotton apologists exist. She knew if she didn't apologize and rationalize it, that her audience was going to at her in the comments. And I bet you people did at her in the comments. I didn't check the comments. But it floored me. It's one of those things where it just took, I was like, of all the things to apologize, you're having to apologize for using cotton. First of all, let me say something here. There's not an industry in the world that isn't damaging to the environment. If you're vegan and you eat almonds, horrible for water systems, lots of water. If you're a meat eater and you eat any type of meat, doubly worse on the water system and the environment. If you use bamboo, it is processed. The only yarn that I know of that is self-inclusive is tinsel. And if I can find the video about the production of tinsel, I will put it in the show notes because it's a recirculation of water and it's far cleaner than any other system for yarn. It was a really interesting, I don't even know what program I saw it on, but they went over all sorts of mainly animal fibers, but did hit a few plant-based fibers. At the end of the day, like, first of all, you shouldn't have to apologize for what you're knitting with. I don't ask someone who knits with animal fiber to apologize for animal fiber. Like, I'm not living in a world where I'm going to control what other people are doing, and I don't want to live in a world where I'm in control of that. Personal choice and agency is super important. Understanding why you're choosing the fibers you're using is also important. Blindly picking wool because you don't care and you just want something to knit with, I might argue with you about that. Hey, have you thought about the fiber you're using? In the same way I would say that about acrylic. I know what that process is like. I know that it's not great for the environment, but I also know economically it's more affordable for a lot of people. I use acrylic. I'm not going to apologize for it. So I just found it interesting. Where does that sit with you? Have you ever heard someone apologizing for their use of plant-based? It's kind of like people who don't understand that a lot of food is naturally vegan. And they're like, oh, vegan is so gross. It's like half of the stuff you're eating is vegan. Do you eat fruit? Do you eat vegetables? Do you like Oreos? Do you like, spicy chili Doritos? Vegan. You're not apologizing for eating the Doritos, are you? Why are you apologizing for the cotton? You're not apologizing for drinking, a vegan Starbucks Frappuccino thing, but you're apologizing for knitting with cotton. I don't get it. So I'm curious. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. It made me sad in one way that it made me understand that her community has come at her before for not using animal fiber. And I just thought that's such a weird place to be. I can't imagine. I mean, I know what it's like to have people from the animal fiber community come at me, and it's happened. I think it's happened to all of us who are vegan knitters. Like, people who knit with animal fibers don't understand the choice. If they want to understand the choice, if they're truly curious, they'll ask really great questions, and it's a really great dialogue. But there is a gang out there that they're not curious. They think it's ridiculous, and they'll let you know. And I feel like that's who came at her. And I just think, well, first of all, those aren't your people then, and screw them. Like, I may not like someone's use of animal fiber. I'm not coming at them in the comments. I'm not. I'm probably not watching their podcasts, really, truthfully. The podcasts I do watch, when I think about that, yeah, they're not vegan. They are using animal fiber, but they're also not apologetic about plant-based fibers in the way that this one was. It was really weird. So anyway, let me know what you think about that. Just something to chew on. Litterbox thought. Just in general, don't apologize for your fiber. Do what you got to do. Just be knowledgeable. And that's the other thing. Maybe we want to do a series about like how certain fibers are processed so we understand the environmental impact, because it seems to be the argument that the animal fiber community has with the plant-based fibers is that the environmental impact of blah, 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 blah. That's what I hear every time. And I'm just thinking, how are you not discussing the environmental impact of animal? I like how they think I just don't know. I just don't get it. I'm not on board. But anyway, getting off of that and going back to that, like, if that's something that like maybe we could do a series on, is like, how is cotton yarn made? How is organic cotton different from standard cotton? How is acrylic processed? How is bamboo processed? How is hemp processed? And see where it leads. I mean, I don't know a lot about those fibers and how they're made, but I'm willing to do a little research, dig my heels in, act like I'm going to school. Let's do it. Okay, guys, that's it. That's all I got for you. Here's a cheers to indictment. You may not go to jail, but you are getting arrested. Okay, guys, enjoy the next couple weeks. I will be back. Maybe I'll have a O or a hoe or a whip. I don't know what I'm going to have. You're going to have to sit tight and wait for it. So I hope you enjoy the next couple weeks. I hope it gets warm and sunny. Hang in there, you know. We'll get by. We'll get by together. So take care of yourselves so you can take care of one another. Love yourself so you can love one another. Pet a cat. You know, have a good time. And I'll see you soon. Toodles!